Here we're being asked 15 is what percent of 12? And there are two ways to do this. Method one, we say to ourselves, a percent is just a part over a whole. And the part in this situation is actually the 15, and the whole is the 12. And that's really weird. But the idea is that they're saying 15 is what percent? So it implies 15 is a part. A percent is a complicated part of something. So it's a really weird idea, but these are questions where the percent is actually bigger. The part is actually bigger than the whole. So just don't even think about it. Throw it in your calculator. And we have 15 divided by 12, and that is 1.25. Now, to go from decimal form, which is where we're at right now, to percent, you move the decimal two spaces over. If that ever gets a little confusing, just think of the nice, easy example that would say something like 56% is the same as 0.56. So what I'm saying is to go from percent to decimal form, I'm actually moving the decimal two spaces left. And to get from decimal to percent form, I'm actually moving it two spaces right. So if I ever had anything really confusing like 1.25 or like 0.007%, I would just create a model of an easier example and ask myself, when going from percent to decimal, am I moving it two spaces left or two spaces right? So now we're realizing that we're having to move it two spaces right. So 1.25 is the same as 125%, and that's our answer. Now doing it in method two, for the easier questions, method two kind of seemed unnecessarily difficult, but that's what happens. If you're kind of doing things the more technical way, you often end up more set up to answer the harder questions. So the second method is to just write it as an equation the way it's being given to you. 15 is what percent, an unknown percent is x over 100 of 12. And on the right-hand side, 12 is really 12 over 1 because any number is itself over 1. And now we're multiplying that and we're getting 12x over 100. And then we're just going to divide by the opposite fraction, 100 over 12, to get our answer. And so now we've got x equals whatever you have for 15 times 100, and then divided by 12. And that, of course, is 125. So we have two different ways to get the right answer.